All right. So hi, everybody. Welcome to our Ignite. Um, this is session 3 on open houses. So I'm really excited to teach this material to you. It's something that I've taught and implemented throughout my whole entire career, and it's proven to be very successful for me in both capturing buyer leads and seller leads. And I just think it's such a really great way to get into the community, get your name out there, and meet people. Unfortunately, as everybody knows, with things going on right now, we have to do business a little bit differently. So I'm going to go through the basic overview of what it is to implement the open house strategy. And then we're also going to brainstorm together on some things that we can change in the model to conform to COVID-19 and what's going on today so that we can still use this as a lead generation strategy. So I wanted to start out by introducing myself. My name is Amanda Brehm. I have been licensed for just about 3 years. I am dual licensed in both Pennsylvania as president of the team, and I did for half. And in between, I was a single agent, and now for the last 4 or 5 months, I've been, full on my own single agent, working with buyers and sellers. And when I first got started in the business, everybody told me to do open houses. And this is the way that you're going to generate business and meet people. And blindly, I just did what was suggested of me, and it has proved to be really beneficial to my career. So I would say year over year, about 25% of my business has come from doing open houses, which is a good statistic if you're breaking down your business plan. So has everybody here been in the Ignite series so far? Have you been to every Ignite? Yeah, we could nod up and down. I know everybody's probably muted, right? If you don't have your camera on and you can turn it on, I would appreciate it. I think that it's good for us to be able to interact. And Erin is going to be taking questions. So if you guys have a question through the class, go ahead and type it into the chat box or put your hand up in the chat box. And then this way, we know that you have a question, and I'll stop every couple of minutes and make sure that there's understanding and not any other questions. I would like to ask for a volunteer or two to give us some examples of something that they've learned so far in Ignite. Sherry, have you been in every session of Ignite? Or is this?
I was going to say, I'll share something. So yeah, yesterday, or was it 2 days ago? I already forgot. But I've really learned advertising myself. I was in for the marketing one, and I really feel like I need to step up my game with social media and really making those contacts each day and making myself accountable. So that's what I've really been taking in the last 2 Ignite.
Awesome, that's good. Good stuff. All right, so let's get started. Okay. So they're asking a question here. Do you hold open houses for seller or buyer leads? I'm just gonna do this, okay. So you hold open houses for both is the answer to that. You don't know what somebody's situation is walking through that door and why they're coming to that open house, but most likely, if they've already bought a house in the past, they're gonna need to sell that house before they buy new. So you could really capitalize on both types of buyer and seller leads. You're putting yourself in the path of opportunity and being where people are starting to actually look and gather information. I think there's a NAR stat that says 51% of all buyers started gathering information at open houses. So right now I'm on page 3. Okay. So if you're looking to get involved in a certain area and you want to start building relationships in that area, what better way to meet people than to host an open house and pose yourself as the market professional in the area? There's a lot of different things that are involved in the open house rather than just opening the door, sitting there waiting for somebody to come. There's a whole strategy a week ahead of time that can be implemented to help you capitalize on every single aspect of this prospecting and marketing tool. So I will share with you one of my greatest open house stories. And this was probably about a year and a half ago. I was a newer buyer's agent on the Gibbs team, and we decided to do an open house event. We had two listings that were, right down the road from each other in a really kind of higher end portion of Goshen. And we really wanted to make this special. So it was in October. So we did a pumpkin picking open house, and we were doing a raffle, and we really promoted it all over social media and sent it out all the ways that we're going to talk about here. And we had a sponsor, and we were able to have at that open house, I think it was like 7 or 8 buyers came through. I ended up working with 3 of them at different points through the year. And I ended up selling the house that we held the house open from one of the buyers of the open house. They had a house to sell. I ended up being able to help them because I had a buyer for their house. Mark, and I was able to find 5 transactions just from one open house. And it took follow-up and pre-qualifying and good scripts in order for me to really capture that specific buyer, because they were, they wanted a certain thing and they weren't easy to move. But with the follow-up plan that we'll talk about later, I was able to translate that into a really big piece of business for myself and for the team. So open houses do work. And if you don't have any houses to hold open, just a little tip, we've got a lot of amazing teams in our office. We have the Dream Home team, a Govern Kaplicki team, the Gibbs team, and I bet any one of them would be willing to let you host an open house or host a virtual open house or promote their listing for you to get buyers off of. Just go ahead and ask, or if you're in coaching with Rita, definitely put that out to her. She'll put it over on the group page so that you can see what open houses are available for the weekend. Okay, and so our number one job in this business is lead generation. So that's what we focus on in a lot of our discussions is lead generation. And we want to, as newer agents, we don't have a ton of money to spend on marketing and advertising and things like that. So one of the most cost-effective ways to lead generate is to do open houses. And it's also one of the best ways to spend your time, because in 2 hours, you could find 2 qualified buyers that are ready to go, as opposed to making cold calls that might take you 100 phone calls to maybe convert 1 buyer, depending on where you're calling from and what kind of scripts you're using. Okay. So open houses are not necessarily to sell the house. Sometimes they do. It's more used to help you to generate leads. It's going to do the seller a favor to show that you're really putting the effort out and executing this open house for them and executing this market strategy and hoping to find a buyer. But it really is going to do something for your business, because even if you got 1 buyer and 1 listing off that open house, and then you have another listing that you're able to do the same thing, it's going to snowball affect you into having a very nice big pipeline and database. So we want to make sure that if we're using this open house model for lead generation, that we have a strategic plan in place that's that you can repeat. So you want it to be something that you're scheduling it and you can make it repeatable week over week without it being stressful to you. So I do suggest, as we go through this material, you create yourself some sort of template. Monday, I'm doing this. Tuesday, I'm doing this. Wednesday, I'm doing this. And there's some examples here on how we should set that schedule up. So the 3 steps for an open house are going to be to prepare, to prospect, and to pursue. It's always in the follow-up is where all the money lies. You will have those A buyers that are ready to go. Yet most likely, if they're starting to look at open houses and they're not working with another agent yet, they are going to be B or C buyers, and it's going to take some nurturing and some follow-up in order to get them to that place. But they've already met you face-to-face. They've already made that connection. You've already posed yourself as the market expert. So the follow-up really shouldn't be difficult, and just staying in touch with them until they're ready. Okay, so this goes on to the do not call list real quick. I hope everybody knows what the do not call list is. If they're on the do not call list, don't call them. There's huge fines. I've known some people that have gotten these fines, not even purposely disregarding, but scrub any call list that you have with a do not call list registry before you start making phone calls. Again, right now we're not allowed to make phone calls into September, but I do have some alternative ideas to help us still be able to get in touch with people. So we'll keep going through that. So the next page, Erin, we'll go on to the next slide. This is preparing for success. So like I mentioned, it's good to have a strategic plan. So this lays it out Monday through Saturday. On page 8 in the material, I hope it lines up with you. So it says Monday, select your open house location, what time, and or volunteer to host an open house that somebody's got a listing marketing. We'll talk about location, time, things like that. That's very important. So that'll be the next slide. So it says, select a neighborhood that you're going to be comfortable in. So right now when I first started real estate, I didn't care where I sold. I was in Ulster, Orange, Sullivan, Pennsylvania. I'm all over the place. I'm young, I can run. But as I'm getting more and I'm getting more local exposure, it makes more sense to me to refer some of that business out and to stay put. So when I'm looking for these opportunities and these listings and these open houses, I'm looking for them in the areas that I want to serve. So that's something to keep in mind. Is it a high traffic area? Is it someplace that you're going to get a lot of people in the door? So then it says on Tuesday to post online, generate a call list, and call 25 neighbors. So I would like to change that right now during COVID to post online, generate a mailing list, and start handwriting notes to the neighbors. Because neighbors still want or maybe know somebody that's moving into the area. And also if you're showing them that kind of dedication to your seller, that you're writing handwritten notes to invite them to the Facebook Live you're going to do on Sunday, or to invite them to call you about, what the market is doing. And just putting that out there in a handwritten note is going to go very far for you. And it could just land you that house as a listing later on. I've been doing handwritten notes right now to all of my neighbors. And just coming from contribution, that is the culture of Keller, and especially what's going on with the shift and with the market right now. People don't want you to be super salesy and hound you for their business. They really are looking for the personal connection. So I created myself a script, and I'm writing 10 handwritten notes a day, sending them out to all of my neighbors. And once I'm done with that list, I'm going to start with some of my listings and really start putting that out there, because people want a personal touch. So it says on Wednesday to post online again, install your KW consumer app on your phone and put a sign in the yard. So if you put a sign in the yard 3 days before the open house by appointment only, you may start getting calls on that open house because people want to get in and see it. And as things start opening up, we're already slammed in this market with buyers. As things start opening up, that sign in the yard might be the way for you to speak to that buyer first. And the technology through KW, we have so many amazing helpers. Erin, I know that we've just passed that off, right? Technology, if we have any questions.
No, we don't have any questions in the chat now. If anybody has anything, go ahead and post.
Okay. No, I'm saying Jonathan, he's now the one that we should go to if we have any questions with the technology and things like that, right?
Well, in the Hudson Valley United office, yes, it's Jonathan. In Hudson Valley North, it's Corinne. And in Hudson Valley, okay, New City, it is Eileen Angel.
Okay. So we have a lot of people that help with the technology. I'm still getting into some of it. I still like my handwritten notes and things like that. But as I'm reading through this material, if we can integrate the technology into these open houses, we're going to be able to capture information and put people into our database without having to do anything. They're going to be able to do the work if you're set up for that. And then once you capture their information, if you're set up through your database with your 36 touch or your 8x8 campaigns, you're going to be able to just plug them in and start that follow-up very easily without a thought. So if you haven't done that already, I would definitely suggest setting an appointment to meet with one of those people, which I have to do this week. So So then it says Thursday, post online, and then invite your database. So if you're hosting an open house in a concentrated area that is your neighborhood and where you're from, that's perfect, because everybody in your database then should be local to that area, and you can call and invite them out to the open house. Are they going to come? Are they not going to come? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe they're not looking to sell, but they're seeing what you're doing for your seller and how well your advertising is. And if you have not looked into the campaigns on Command, they're so user friendly. They're so easy to use. I can just change the picture out now for different houses that I'm doing. You don't have to make it complicated. And it really looks great and does wonders. I'm getting off of $30 a week. I'm getting like 20 to 30 leads, and I'm speaking with at least 20 people off of like $30. It's crazy. So it's saying now, Thursday, post online, invite your database, return the yard sign calls, and then email property-based internet leads. So as the leads come in, we want to capture them that same second if you can, within the first 5 minutes, preferably. If not within the day, if definitely not within 24 hours. Their information to be captured, and you may have a more uphill battle conversation than if they click on your thing and you can actually reach out to them right away. So then it says Friday, post online statistics and your comps. So when we show up at the open house, we want to be prepared like professionals. If we don't know the local market, we have to gather all of that information and make sure that we know where the schools are, the shopping, the churches, and have statistics about what that specific market is doing, and maybe some comparable properties in the area. You're going to want to print flyers, and if you have a lender sponsor or a home inspector sponsor or a home stager sponsor, a lot of the times they're willing to print some of this material for you or help you out with bringing balloons or refreshments and things like that. So definitely lean on them. They want to earn your business. And this is also a lead generation strategy for them. So definitely make them a part of it. And then Saturday, post online, place your directional signs. In the old Ignite, they had a huge thing about signs. They were like, the more signs, the better. It is nice, especially that 1 or 2 days before the open house, to have all of these directional signs out if you have them with your name on them. If you don't have them with your name on them, it doesn't really do as much for you. And in the beginning, you may have to borrow signs, but everybody's been very helpful if you don't have the signs to borrow them. So just ask somebody. And then it says to door knock the neighborhood. So we can't do that either until September. Yet whenever I've door knocked the neighborhood, I've just spoken to the most amazing people. I've gotten so many leads. I'm still in touch with some of the people that I've door knocked. And we actually sold a house, from door knocking, having them come over. Not that house, but a different one that turned into our buyer. So put all that energy in. Now, with all of that said, does anybody else have any other ideas about how we can change that around to fit the COVID-19 restrictions that are placed on us? Does anybody have any other ideas of how we could lead generate around these open houses? Okay.
We do have a comment in the chat. Ebru's asking, are there any recommendations where we can get market info for the area when we're hosting an open house?
Yeah, on the MLS, there's a tab that you can get fast stats, or you can actually break down the market statistics, and it gives you all really good information. And then there's another site called RPR that I use, and I'll go on that and it'll give, just like Zillow does this estimate, this gives an estimate based on comparables and sales in the area, and then it gives a confidence score of the price that it's given you. So it actually provides a lot of really good information for sellers and buyers. So if you can find that, it's called RPR, and and you can pick and choose which pages you want to include, and you can actually use that even for buyer and listing appointments if you need to. So it's a good market overview.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So the next thing is to prepare and plan for success. So over 50% of the people that stop at an open house are doing so by impulse. They're seeing a sign and they're seeing the balloons and they're like, oh my God, that house is so cute. Let's just stop in. So we have to be prepared to find the location where you're going to get that high traffic. We want to set goals around how many people you want to get from the open house. And so if you're in an area that is like Greenville, or, you know, and it might be a mile between this house and the next house, and it, you know, a little bit more spread out, you might set a goal to get 2 buyers into that open house. If you're looking to get 10 buyers into an open house, you're going to have to do it on a main street, you know, someplace in a highly dense populated area. And so just keep that in mind with expectations of what your goal is. I don't mind doing open houses anywhere as long as I get 1 or 2 people is happy, because I have prepared myself with the right scripts to use to talk to these people, give them the information that they want, and convert them. So I don't really care to get 10 and 15 people. I think that can be overwhelming. Because you're in the house with, if it's owner occupied, there's people's possessions, even if they've locked up valuables and things like that. You want somebody else that's going to be able to man the door, get people to sign in, and kind of distract them while you're helping the other people around. So think about all of that before you do an open house, of what could or could not happen, so that you're prepared for it. Okay. So like everything that we talk about in Bold and in Ignite, and the theme through KW is scripts, and scripts are really important. And it's whether you're writing a handwritten note, what script you're using, whether you're door knocking, or whether you're greeting somebody at the door of an open house or answering a cold call. You want to be prepared with what you're going to say. Nothing is worse than knocking on somebody's door, them opening it, and you being like, here you go, I'm having an open house, you know, whatever, and just being surprised that somebody actually opened the door. And believe it or not, people do open the door, and not everybody's mean. You know, not everybody's going to shut you out, and you might just build some really healthy relationships. So I would practice a script. Now, there is scripts available to you through the Ignite material. So here's just one that I'll read through real quick that is for door knocking. Okay, so it says, hello, this is Amanda from Keller Williams Realty, and I'm at your door because the homeowners at 114 Meadowbrook have asked me to invite you to their house on for an open house Sunday at 2 o'clock. Feel free to bring someone with you from work, or a friend, a relative that might be interested in your neighborhood. And by the way, when I find a buyer, I'd love to be able to share with you what people like about the neighborhood. Can I ask, what is it you like about your neighborhood? If you were to move, where would you go next? When might that be? Right, so we're already starting to dig and pre-qualify and get to know these people, but more so, we want to build rapport, you know, with these neighbors, and we want to invite them over. And you can even throw in a little joke that, listen, I always bring all these cookies and they never get eaten. I would love for you to come over and just get a fresh baked good, and, you know, come through and see what your neighbors got going on. So it doesn't have to be super scripted, but just know what you're going to say, because somebody is going to open the door. If they don't open the door, leave the flyer on their door where they can see it. And then this way, you know, you've done your job of market prospecting around the neighborhood. If it's a nice day, it's really fun to do. And, you know, don't be shy. It's hard at first, but then you get used to it. Okay. Any questions so far? It's the Elemental Script Book. Starting on page 25 is where you'll find those scripts. I'm on page 11. I don't know if that helps you, Erin.
It doesn't seem to follow what you're saying, so.
doesn't. When this printed out, it printed like some double pages. It was really kind of out of order. So I wonder if it
That's
even
good. You
lines
just
up.
talk. You just talk.
Okay. Okay, cool. Cool. That's what we're doing. All right. Okay, so speaking about scripts, the most important script to have is what you're going to say to somebody when they walk into your open house. How are you going to be? And I want you to think of this as this is your stage and this is your show. And the more that you are scripted and the more that you know what you're going to say, the more in control of the conversation you're going to be, and the more likely you're going to be able to pre-qualify and get right down to the meat and potatoes, start a relationship that can be nurtured and move these people from just lookers at an open house to an actual lead. So it says here that there's 3 steps in helping people with an open house, and that's to build rapport. So greet everybody that walks in the door and have the guests sign in. Now, this is where I was saying I like to use the old paper sign-ins. Yeah, as I'm reading through here, if you have a tablet with you, you can do a landing page through KW that'll have nice pictures of the property and allow the people to sign in. Or you can share your mobile app, which will have them register, and automatically that goes into your database. That's a much easier way. And as things are moving to technology, you know, it might somebody's afraid of the technology or doesn't want to use it, make sure you have a pen and paper there that you can get their information. And I always just say that the seller wants to know, you know, everybody that's come through the house today. And I use that to be able to capture the information. And so the next thing is to qualify the lead. So to ask the probing questions and identify willingness, and then to provide value and show them the neighborhood snapshots and any information that you've brought with you. You've got probably 2 to 5 minutes if you're having a busy open house to really get through some of these questions. And if you're having a slower open house, you have a little bit more time. And so judgment call on that. But that's why it's important to be prepared with what you're going to say. So I always say, hey, welcome to our open house. Come on in. You know, so glad to see you here today. If you wouldn't mind, I'm going to have you come and sign in. The seller likes to make sure they know everybody that's come through the house. And after that, I'll give you a tour. I hand them the materials that I brought with me to carry, and then I'll start touring them through the house. Obviously, I don't have to be Vanna White and say this is the kitchen and this is the bathroom, but I do want to maybe point out a couple of features and benefits. Like this house comes with a really nice special feature of a whole house generator, and that's good if the power ever goes out. You're not going to be stuck up here with no electricity. So a little bit of a features and benefits, but more so you want to start asking these people, so where are you coming from? How long have you been looking to buy? Are you currently working with an agent? That question has got to come pretty quickly, because you're still going to be nice. You're still going to answer their questions. Yet if they're already working with an agent, you're going to try to redirect them back to that. Make sure that if they haven't signed something, it's fair game, right? So you can always ask them to interview for the job as well. But if they're committed to an agent, answer their questions and then let them be on their way, and ask them for their agent's information too, so that you can follow up and let them know that they were out, so you can get any feedback that way. But if they're not working with an agent, okay, great. Have you looked at many houses? When were you thinking about moving? Oh, 3 to 6 months. Oh, wow. Do you live in the area currently? Oh, no, we're from the city. Okay. Are you renting in the city? Yeah. Whatever. Start building the rapport. So you're going to get those questions, and then you want to pitch your value proposition to them. So now you've built rapport. You're going to go 3 questions deep with some of these things. So if they're like, we really want a good school district, what's important to you about that? Well, we have 3 kids. Oh, that's awesome. Boys or girls, right? And so now I've gone 3 questions deep with them, and it's very natural for me to want to get to know people. And it also lets them know that I care and I want to get to know them. And then I'm going to pitch myself, because this is the time for me to pitch. Well, I'm a local buyer specialist in the area. I've worked mainly with buyers, and I take a different approach. I like to take a consultative approach with my buyers, because in this fast moving market, it's going to take strategy to help you find a really great house. I would really love to sit and meet with you for 30 to 45 minutes and go over your wants and needs, talk about the process, and help you in any way that I can in getting started. How does Monday work? you can go right for the appointment right there. If you're busy or they want to think about it, schedule a follow-up, but I would pitch your value right there because they're already going to be, hyped up with emotion. You're showing a really great house. You've done a great features and benefits, and they like you. You're going to pitch yourself and they're going to want to work with you. So, and that's 3 to 5 minutes. So there's some suggestions here to share your snapshot through command, which I have not done yet. I have to say I am going to do it the next time that I have an in-person meeting just to try it out. But that can really pose you as the market expert by sharing your snapshot. And then if anybody's taken bold before, they know the Ford method. So if you want to know how to construct a well-constructed conversation, you focus on their family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. You make it all about them and accomplishing their goals. And when you make it about them, you're going to really make them feel good. You're going to show them value, and it's going to be a no-brainer that they're going to want to schedule an appointment to work with you. Okay. So it says to ask probing questions, and I would read your people. So if you're asking probing questions and they seem hesitant or they want to just look on their own, definitely be a good judge of they're responding to you, because at that stage, people are not necessarily warm yet, or they've gone to 5 open houses and they've met 5 other salesmen that are attempting to do the same thing as you are. So just make sure that you're reading your people and not pushing too much, but your job is to get the information from them, because the more information you have, the more likely you are to present them with a solution to help them. Okay. We talked about that. Okay, so we'll talk about safety real quick for open houses, and this is for showings in general. Do we have a safety guideline, Erin? Do we have like a company safety guideline?
We've discussed it in the past. We've had task forces on it in the past. So yes,
Yeah.
we have.
Well, and anybody here in this company is going to be willing to help you out if you're feeling unsafe in any kind of way. So we'll just go through these really quickly. Make sure that you're parking on the street or you're not the first one pulling in, so that you always have a way to back out. And parking on the street also makes people feel more comfortable about pulling into the driveway. So it kind of wins both ways. Make sure that you meet the neighbors, especially the immediate ones next door. Let them know that you're in that house hosting an open house alone. This way you've got somebody looking out for you in case a bunch of people show up or, you get into distress. Never turn your back on prospects. So always allow them into the door first, allow them to go up the stairs first or down the stairs first, and you follow. Establish an escape route. So know where your entrances and exits are, and make sure that your car is in a place that you can pull out quickly. And then let somebody know when you're going to be there and you're going to be done. Erin, is it I'm going to dinner with Gary, or Gary's coming to dinner?
Yes, I'm going to dinner with Gary.
Okay, so that's our code in the company. If you run into trouble and you need to call somebody, I'm going to dinner with Gary, right? And then anybody from our company is going to know that you're in distress. So I would just pick a partner, or if you have a spouse or a sibling, that wants to know where you are, just create some sort of, emergency contact, and then make sure your cell phone is charged. Okay.
Hi.
Yes.
Hi, Erin. Amanda, I don't know you. My name is Brenda Jones, but Erin knows me from New City. Hi.
Hi.
I have a follow-up to safety, which was quite surprising to me after having been in the business for so long, but I did continuing ed this past February, and the person teaching suggested that you actually invite a family member or a friend to come by, which when I got into the business, X number of years ago, 10 plus years ago, that was frowned upon. You know, don't have anybody else, friend or family coming in.
Yeah.
But the reason was that whomever comes in, they see this person there who seems to look very familiar with you. And
Yes, I like that.
it was a great idea. And again, several of us who were in that particular class had been in the business for a long time. And before I came to Keller Williams, I was with another company, and that was so frowned upon. But at least you're telling that person they don't need to be there with you the entire 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever. But say, drop in, so
Yeah.
they just spontaneously show up at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, stay a little while or whatever. So
I like
I
that.
thought it was great.
I like that. I even like to shoot off of that and say that the agents in our office, as you start to meet people and make connections with our other local realtors, if you're doing an open house in their area, make sure to call and invite them too, because they will.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
That can be for safety, and that can also, if you do find an interested buyer, it can create around the house of, that it's a hot item.
Yes.
Make them want to, talk with you sooner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Great.
Amanda.
Well, thank you for that. Thanks. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too. Thanks. You're doing a great job, by the way.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank you. All right. So the next part is the follow-up, and we say this all the time, that the follow-up is the most important. You may capture that A, B, or C buyer. You have to know what they are by the pre-qualifying questions that you ask them, and you'll be able to then plug them into your system and tag them immediately. And if you have all of these campaigns already set up, it's going to do the work for you. But it shows you here how to label and tag your prospects as either an immediate buyer, an immediate seller, a future buyer, or a future seller. You can tag them that you've received them at an open house. And then this way they're put on the appropriate campaign for follow-up. If they're not ready to buy in 9 months from now, doesn't mean that they're not still going to be your contact. They just need some time. So, and they've made a friend with you. And if you stay top of mind to them over the next 9 months, they will buy or sell with you when they're ready. And they have 3 different kinds of touches that they're mentioning here. So a high value touch, like an 8x8, that's going to contact them one after another after another. And then you've got a 19 touch campaign and a 36 touch campaign. So depending on where the buyers are in the process will depend on which campaign that you put them on and how often that you're reaching out to them and contacting them. But they stay in touch because they will buy or sell. Okay, so we talked about this briefly before, but some things that really help your open house stand out are the extras that you do. If you just put a sign in the yard and put it up on MLS, you are maybe going to get some people to come through because of Zillow or because they are driving by to see the sign. But if you really make it something, you could make this an event that is going to attract people from the community and get you even more contacts. So if you host a speaker, such as a general contractor, a home stager, or something like that, during COVID, I would say you could maybe host an event where you're highlighting a listing and you've done a virtual walkthrough and you've put a link to the walkthrough, but you're actually doing a Zoom meeting with one of the vendors, a lender, a home inspector, a home stager, on how they helped you and your seller during that process. That might be a good way to anchor down some of the marketing things that you're doing, ahead of time. And then they can also help cross promote you. So that just gets you twice the amount of exposure. Offer a gift. Who doesn't like free things? So this is really cool. There was a company, a Keller Williams company in New Mexico, and they took a different spin on an open house. They did an open house scavenger hunt. And instead of just doing it one house, they had 9 open houses in one day, and you got the card at one of the houses. And if you went to all 9 houses and did the scavenger hunt, you got entered in to win an iPad mini. Now that's an extreme example of something that you can do. However, if you have the passion for getting out in front of people and you can find somebody else to partner with, or get a couple of people that have listings in the same area together, that may be a really fun way to help cross promote each other, and create the energy and momentum out for your lead generation. So another thing to keep in mind of preparing for the open house is getting the open house in shape. There is nothing worse than showing up the day of an open house and you walk the door and the kids' potty is on the floor with pee in it still, and there's dishes in the sink, and you go upstairs and the towels on the floor in the bathroom, and do home sellers know everything that they have to do? Sometimes they don't. Some home sellers are great, and you walk into their house and it's like you want to live like that forever. I get mad at my house for being a mess because I walk into these houses that are perfectly staged and done. Some people don't understand how much that first impression really makes a difference. So we have to coach them on that. It's our job to explain to them the benefits of staging. In the Keller Williams Connect material, actually can do to hand over to your sellers to help them to stage the house properly, so that maybe you're not being the bearer of bad news. But I've realized that people appreciate honesty, and when you're coming to them from a kind place and a place of wanting to help them, they're more open to receive the honest feedback, and it's really for their best benefit. So if there's a funny smell, make sure that you mention it. If you think that the shelves need to get dusted because the window is coming in and it's just hitting those shelves just right, and that's going to make a difference. People notice these things because as clean as your house is, people think that you take as good of care of your house as how clean it is. So we want to make sure that it's looking the best inside and outside, make sure that the grass is cut and the bushes are cut. If you have local contacts for landscapers, make sure to provide them to your clients and be the resource and the pivot point for them. So although some of this stuff may seem overwhelming, oh my gosh, I've got to clean my house and do this. Well, I have a cleaner that will come in and do a deep clean for this price. Or, I have a landscaper that's really reasonable, and, they'd be happy to get here and get this done for you. This is another way to build value again with your clients, and it would help them out. The better that you can get the house looking, the more likely that you're going to have success at the open house. Also, something that I've done quite often, and my sellers love it, is the night before the open house, I drop off an apple pie or something for them to bake in the oven that morning. So I'm hosting the open house at 12. I tell them to bake the pie at 10. They leave it on the oven cooling as I'm hosting my open house, and it just fills the house with all sorts of really good smells, and it really gives a homey touch. So any of those little extra things that you can do definitely help. And so the next thing they say is to go live on your Facebook. And this is something that I really have to do more of. This is getting me more comfortable doing the videos by being on here with you guys, so I appreciate it. But going live and getting your social media to engage, especially right now, is one of the only ways that we can communicate with people. And you get so much draw on your Facebook and social media by going live. You get so much response, and then you're going to see that everything else you start posting over the next couple of weeks is going to get just even that much more interaction because you went ahead and did the live video. And you can stay on live. You don't have to, go on quickly and turn it off. If you're comfortable being on there, you can stay on there and talk about the market, talk about this house, talk about the neighborhood, talk about stuff you've got coming soon, give some home buying and selling tips, tips for your garden as you're doing it. And then if people come on, you just pay attention and you can answer questions. And it's a great activity to do in the in-between time. And I would always say to get to your open house at least a half hour early so that you can check on all of this stuff, make sure that it was done if you can't check it the night before. And that'll give you time to do a video like this, especially if you're going to have a busy open house. So right now, the only way that we can do open houses is by appointment or virtually. So Erin said that we have our company Facebook page, and that the staff can help facilitate if we share a video with them or we want to go live on a certain day. We can, coordinate with them, and as long as we, show up for it, we can host our open houses through the company page. And I like going live, though. I think that that's also a really great idea. So you can either do either one, record a video or go live. And then if you do a video and you send that out on Facebook business page, it's going to generate a lot more than just a picture advertisement with some wording. People like videos. They like to get to know you, and your personality will really shine through and get out to a lot of people. And I'm just doing these things at, in my mind, a low level because I'm pretty busy and consistent right now. And so I'm doing as much as I can social media wise and video wise. And I'm still getting 3 to 7 new likes on my page a week. It's not huge, but it's more than it was by me doing nothing. And now I'm realizing that there's lead generation opportunity that comes with that too. So I have these people's names that clicked my page and liked it. What's stopping me from reaching out to them and just saying, hey, I see that you liked my page. Do you want any other information about them? My conversation, I can be your resource. So you can build upon these things. And Rosemary Merlot said, how can you find out about a live open house so I can see how it's done? Okay, Erin, are we announcing these? Are we sending them out through email?
We are doing on Facebook. We have, like Amanda said, each market center has a page where we can feature any open houses that either you're doing live at that time or that you have recorded in advance. If you want to find out a little bit more about doing live open houses, what we can do is see if we can find some names of some agents that have done the live open houses to get some best practices. From what I've seen, you go in with your camera and you film around like you were in the house, essentially like you were showing the house to somebody, but you're just using yourself and your camera. It'll hear your voice. And then you can, again, like I said, you can either be live on Facebook, like Amanda said, as it's happening, or you can record it and post it at a specific time and host a watch party so that you can then boost that watch party to certain zip codes, like the zip code of where the house is, and boost it to a certain radius around the home. So that way you can get greater exposure to your open house, again, whether you're doing it live or you are just hosting something that you already did. So there's a few different ways to do it. If you're more comfortable filming it without a live audience, you can certainly film it beforehand and then just post it. Or if you're comfortable doing it live, that's a great way to do it, because then you can see if people are interacting with you. And there's a lot more interaction to be had if it's live. But just make sure that you advertise it beforehand on your Facebook page so that people know that it's coming, so they're ready to watch it at whatever time you're ready to do it. So it's really, you can promote that live open house the same way that Amanda showed about promoting a regular open house through social media, and you can call people and make phone calls and post different advertising to tell them I'll be going live at 2 p.m. on Sunday. Just definitely promote it the same way.
Yeah, and when you promote it, then you're capturing their information, and that's not cold calling. So we can call those people because they came to us essentially, which is kind of the workaround that we're doing right now.
Also, let your database know that you're hosting a virtual open house. That's a great way to get more people engaged, is to get your database on board.
And I realize that the people that love you, and they want to see you do well. So when you go on and do these videos and put yourself out there like that, they want to be able to share it. They want to be able to support you. And so don't be afraid to ask your friends and family. And even if they come on for a few minutes, it's giving it momentum and it's pushing it out. So that's a good tip. Thanks, Erin. Okay. Examples to do and not to do. So it says to do, welcome the visitors at the door, get the house in great shape. We've talked about that. clutter can cost a sale. If somebody walks into a house and they cannot picture themselves living there because of all of the stuff, you have to be honest with your seller and break it to them that they're going to have to, move that stuff downstairs or put it in boxes. Set out all the documents pertaining to the house. Make sure that it's in an area that can be directly accessed from walking into the door. Safety. Host your open houses on off times. So if you do a 1:30 to 3:30 instead of a 1 to 3, it might, stick out to somebody more. And then have the right mindset. So I'm big on this. I believe that if I set the intention out for my open house and I know that how many people that I want to get and I, really convert that into business, it comes together for me. And so I have the right mindset. I don't discount anybody before I really get to know them. I truly believe that I'm going to get pre-qualified people coming through the door that are ready, willing, and able to buy and sell real estate, and that I'm not going to be wasting my time. If I go into it with the mentality that this is just a waste of 2 and 3 hours, and I have done that before where I really just didn't feel like doing it, or I showed up 5 minutes beforehand and just put a sign out, maybe a balloon, and didn't put this extra energy into it, I didn't get the result, and I really was wasting my time. So mindset is really important when it comes down to anything that you're doing in this business. And then examples so coaching our homeowners on their valuables. Don't leave valuables exposed. Don't overdo it with messy snacks, and don't make assumptions. You have to qualify these leads and forget to confirm with the homeowner. I know that that's silly, but that's something that happened to me one time where we forgot to confirm with, I think, the husband, and the wife knew but didn't tell the husband, and we showed up and there was a kid's birthday party. So excuse me for 5 minutes. I have to go wipe a hiney. He's done very well for us. I forgot to intro that I have a 5-year-old coworker at home with me. So I'm going to go do that. If everybody wants to take a 5-minute break, we don't have much to finish. We're definitely not going to go the full 2 hours, but we'll come back at 3 o'clock and finish up with the rest. All right, we'll get this finished up. We got a little bit left to cover. So we just were talking about arriving early, making sure that the open house is set up. And here's some best practices from KW. So I always have a kit with me, and since this has happened, I've expanded the kit to include the disinfecting wipes and gloves and booties, trash bags. But these are some things that you can carry with you at all times because they're always going to come in helpful in showing or on a seller appointment or anything like that. So it's not a bad idea to have them in your car. And I also have an open house kit that I carry a sign with me. I have little hangers for my drinks. I don't know if you can see that good. So I'll set out some waters with these little hangers on them, just little cute. You can put your business card in here. And so I have all this stuff in my car ready to go so that, like I was saying earlier, it's a repeatable process so that you don't really have to put in a thought when you're going to do these open houses, and it doesn't have to be a burden on you. It can just be a really nice 2-hour lead generation time where you can, capture and make relationships. So some of the tips are to keep the disinfecting wipe, toilet paper. I know that seems funny. I don't know how many times I've been showing houses or hosted an open house that a flipper did, and somebody's got to use the bathroom or you have to use the bathroom and there's no toilet paper. So it's always good to carry that with you, or some tissues, an air freshener again for any smells, a trash bag. Again, arriving early is super important. I've come to houses that they just got done renovating, and in the living room is scraps of wood and this and that. And you can either cancel the open house and say this house isn't ready, or if you're prepared with, some things to wipe down and trash bags, you can kind of just clean that up real quick and go on with the open house that you've promoted all week long. So another reason why it's important to just keep checking up and communicating with the sellers along these lines. Okay, and then the next thing it talks about is the follow-up. So here's our funnel, our prospecting funnel. We're going to take these leads, we're going to turn them into contacts, we're going to cultivate them, we're going to set the appointment, they're going to be active buyers and sellers, then we're going to put them under contract and we're going to close them. And then the funnel brings us right back up into prospecting and marketing. And so what's great about KW and Command and everything that the tools that have been given to us, it's going to make this very easy as you get your system set up to do. But you're always putting these people back on top because these are relationships that you're building for life. So, think of it that way, is that this is a snowball effect. Every time you're adding contacts in to your database, you're creating the momentum to be able to produce more money out of that database. Okay. I'm going to ask a couple ahas and what people have learned today that they're going to put into action right away. I hope that someone put this into action right away. I'd love to hear. Does anybody think that they're going to try one of these virtually within the next couple of weeks? I am. You can hold me to it. Otherwise, I have to sign up for mastery coaching, which costs like $1,000 a month, I think. And I really don't want to spend that money right now. So I've got to do this virtual open house. These are the challenges that I create with my business coach to hold me accountable to doing these things that make me feel uncomfortable. So
That's coaching.
Yes, yes.
So Chanel was talking about how going live on Facebook is a great way to market, that she's going to do that.
And even if it's not about real estate, it doesn't matter because people are going to see you posting things about real estate, but people want to get to know you and they want to get to know your life and your kids. And you don't have to be, I'm in my flannel today and I have leggings on and my slippers because I'm hanging out with you guys and I'm not with clients, but it's real. I'm a mom, and some days, I don't get to do my makeup and wash my hair. People want to get to know you for you. So going live on Facebook, especially now where everybody's online, is such a good platform to get yourself out there. So
Brenda, did you have something you wanted to say?
Yes, I probably am the realtor who's been, maybe from the names that I see here, the longest, but I always think I can learn something. So that's why I wanted to attend this class, and I did. I picked up some great tips. One of the tips that I liked a lot, Amanda, was the scavenger hunt. I know that we in Hudson Valley have contacted each other and say, oh, I'm going to send my people over to you, tell them about your open house, but to actually confirm with each other and say, hey, let's do this. I mean, as you said, we may not have to go as big as an iPad, but to do something.
Yeah.
I think that's a fantastic idea. So thanks for sharing.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I think that we have such a great culture in this company that, you know, there's money is abundant. This is what we're
Yes.
taught. Money is everywhere. So there's not going to be competition between those leads. I just think that creating that atmosphere and then getting to be known for doing things like that is just going to catapult itself. So
I certainly agree. Thank you.
yeah, thank you. Okay, let's see what else I got written down here. Now the rest of this is going into what we're supposed to be doing every single day. So if you're a new agent in Ignite, or you're an agent that with creating this lead generation process or looking to build your database or whatever your goals are, this is a really great outline to follow. So we're saying to add 10 contacts to your database daily, have 10 conversations a day, write 10 handwritten notes, and to preview 10 homes per week. Previewing 10 homes right now is easy because we can preview these things online without actually having to go there. It is good to get your hands and your eyes on the houses themselves, because you'll be able to read the pictures and understand what the buyers are looking for by seeing them in person. But right now, virtually is okay. Side note that I want to add, I have a photographer that I use also. If you're looking to do a video walkthrough of a house, find a photographer. If you want the contact that I have, he's really great and reasonably priced, and he'll actually do the videography for you. He'll follow you around the house as you're actually being, you know, doing the open house. Hi, welcome to 114 Main Street. Come on in, and he'll edit it for you and things like that and really make it look professional. If you want to add that as a marketing strategy, or you are going to use a virtual strategy now for your business, it might behoove you to use a professional for photography. I did a virtual walkthrough for buyer clients the other day, and I re-watched it, and I'm definitely not a videographer. And the commentary that I had in the background, and it worked for what we needed it for. I just know that when I do these things, if I want to be posted as a professional, it might serve me to hire somebody, pay them, you know, $50, $100 to help me with a video. So back to what we should be doing to set your career on fire. At 10 a day, have 10 conversations a day and 10 handwritten notes. Even if you do 5 contacts a day, 5 conversations and 5 handwritten notes, and you're doing this on a consistent basis, it's going to start snowballing into business. So don't think that just because you didn't do 10 yesterday and you could only get 5 in yesterday and 2 the day before, because you're working a part-time job, or, you know, you're just trying to switch gears. As long as you continue to build that momentum and do it consistently, obviously the more people that you talk to, the better your conversion rates are going to be. But work with your business coach and establish what that means, and how many people you have to talk to, and start to understand your conversion rates. Because if you have a very good conversion rate, maybe you don't have to talk to 10 people a day. Maybe you only have to talk to 5, or maybe you're a newer agent practicing your scripts, and you have to talk to more people in order to hit that monetary goal that you're setting out for. So I highly suggest, if you're not in coaching, to interview with one of the amazing coaches that we have here. And also get a script partner. So if you don't have a script partner already, or if you do have a script partner already, maybe this is one of the scripts that you practice with them, and just do your elevator, you know, pitch. When somebody's walking to the open house, what are you going to say? What questions are you going to ask? What is your value proposition? And practice that a couple times so that you start believing that you are everything that you say, and that when you speak it to a buyer or a seller, you're going to capture them because you believe it and they believe you. Okay. And that's all I have. I kind of got ahead of myself here with the script practice. I have been in sales for the last, how old am I? So 15 years I've been in sales. I've sold cars and water treatment systems door to door and different things. And I never understood when I got to KW, I was like, I don't want to practice scripts. Like, you know, that's, I want to sound natural and all of these things. Well, scripts are, it's not supposed to be meant like you're reading it off of a piece of paper. It's meant to sound natural, and it's meant to conform to the regular way that you talk and communicate with people. However, having the script and knowing what you can say allows you to be in control of the conversation and allows you to uncover their motivations, identify the objections, close the deal, speak in terms that they understand, build confidence in them. And when you do all of these things, it's a no-brainer that they're going to work with you because you're the professional. So I practice scripts still. I have a couple of script partners that I work with. I'm happy to partner with any of you. A 15-minute script practice once or twice a week on different objection handlers and things like that. And by doing this, I've been able to translate it into different conversations that I'm having in all aspects of my life, really. So you can still be you and have scripts. And Chanel put in the chat, if anybody needs a script partner, let her know. I think that's great. I'm also open for script partners, so anybody can reach out to me, and I'm happy to kind of throw some of these things out there at you. Okay. Oh, and another thing before we get off is they mentioned affirmations, and I've been practicing these a lot, especially in the last 3 months. So they have one here for the open houses and the, hold on. I'll just read the one that they have. But it really helps with your mindset. So it says, say this affirmation aloud before you're making calls or prospecting in this way. It says, I always come from contribution. People will welcome my call. I always come from contribution. People will welcome my call. And if you really adopt that, you really can't go wrong in speaking with people, and you'll be able to disarm anybody that thinks that you have an ulterior motive. So all I got, I'll take questions now and then we can go.
Anyone have any questions or thoughts, last thoughts?
Awesome. Well, I appreciate everybody showing up. I hope you continue to be rock stars and take a lot out of these Ignite sessions. I am always available. I'll put my cell phone in the chat here. If anybody ever wants to reach out to me as a newer agent that has, you know, found success in the business, and I'm starting to build a really big business on my own, and I'm just happy to help anybody along the way. So I received a lot of help from my peers, and I'd be happy to do the same for you. And was this recorded, Erin?
It was, yes.
Cool. Thank you. Thanks, Rosemary.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks.